There was a recent study by the Kaiser Family Foundation about what percentage of people are affected or know somebody who struggles with substance use condition or disorder. And the number is 66%, 2 out of 3, right? But we don't talk about it, right? That's not something that everyone comes forward and says, even though that means if there are 3 people standing there, 2 of them are going through it. We have 11 members of our audience today that have been brave enough to say that they're willing to step forward and to give a little 1-minute share about their own process of recovery. So we want to go ahead and start that now. So we all know that none of us are alone and that these people are your neighbors. These people are your community right next to you.
Good afternoon, State Representative Susan Valdez. I stepped forward today to acknowledge the overwhelming loss of life. As a former school board member and now a current state representative still actively involved in the school system and in our communities, I can speak about many former students who have lost their lives due to this overdose crisis. Too many young individuals in the world and at their fingertips have had their lives taken tragically short due to addiction. Too many families now grieve the loss of their child. And I can also personally speak to the loss of family to addiction. As my family lost a loved one due to this addiction, it was a pain that is never forgotten. I'll never forget, I was on the floor of the House during session of 2021, and I get this frantic phone call from my grandnephew, of whom he lovingly calls me Tia. But, you know, it's not often that I get to hear from my grandnephew. And when I pick up the call, I knew that something was wrong because I was getting this call in the middle of the day. And he could not really talk too much about it because of the tears that he had in his eyes and the sorrow that he had when he found his mom, my niece, Katrina, gone. And you're not alone. We're here with you. So do not think that you can carry this on your burdens. That's why I'm on your shoulders by yourself. That's why I'm glad to partner with Live Tampa Bay initiative and continue bringing awareness to this disease that we so eloquently talk about in a shameful manner. We should not. Let's treat it as such. Thank you for allowing me to share.
Hello, my name is Gabe Sun. I'm a student assistant at Victory High School, and I'm a person in long-term recovery from drugs and alcohol. My self-will and addiction led me to lose my relationships, my interests, and my hope for a future. I grew into a person I was no longer happy to be, and after years of continued drug use, I decided to make a change. I'm now 9 months sober from all substances, and I've gained my life back. I've gained my life back in the form of trust. I've gained my life back in the form of trust, love, and hope. What recovery means to me is making it home safe to my parents, loving groups of people that push me to grow, and freedom I never knew I could have. It's the freedom of trust in my family and friends. I'm willing to grow into the best version of myself. In my recovery, I've been granted a diploma, a job, and an environment in Victory High School that supports me unconditionally. I'm looking forward to starting college classes in the summer and continuing to support my peers at Victory, as well as growing my relationships and mending those I've damaged. Committed to share my story and to continue the discussion of drug abuse in our community. Thank you for letting me share.
Hello, everybody. My name is James Guerin. I'm 17 years old, and I'm in long-term recovery from opioids and other drugs. I am 2 years and 5 months sober today. My life has changed immensely from when I was in active addiction. When I was using, I had so much guilt, shame, no will to live, and no goals. Today, my life has changed more than I could ever imagine. I have since graduated high school at 16 years old with a 3.89 GPA. I'm an active student at SPC College with every intention to pursue material sciences and additive manufacturing once I've graduated with my AA degree. I work at a recovery school helping people my age in their path to recovery. When I was in early recovery, I was told countless times that I would fail, and that if I was on my own, I would be homeless or dead by 18. Well, I don't want to speak too soon, because I still got about 3 months until then, but I think I'll be fine. I don't want to see anyone around me have to go through the experiences that I had, and I hope that through victory, I can be that person that I wanted when I was in early recovery.
Good afternoon. My name is Daryl Henderson, and I'm someone in long-term recovery from alcohol addiction. My sobriety date is February 17th, 2021. My life now is so much better than I could have imagined, and I live every day with an attitude of gratitude. I'm able to be present in my life as never before. Rekindling my relationship with my daughter and meeting her husband and my grandson for the first time have been the highlights of my new life. I look forward to living in a community where addiction is no longer stigmatized or criminalized, where people in recovery are given a chance to rebuild their lives and relationships, gaining strength and confidence to share their stories, where they can be shining examples of hope. I'm glad to be part of the solution by sponsoring and mentoring guys who went through the Salvation Army's Adult Rehabilitation Center program as I did. I am committed to sharing my story and helping others to recover from addiction.
To the incredible transformative power of recovery. We have got to work to end this national health epidemic. I'm Lisa Peaks with WUSF 89.7, and we're your home for NPR in the greater Tampa Bay, Sarasota, and Lakeland areas. And I am in long-term recovery from drug and alcohol addiction. 30 years without a drug or a drink, and I am free today to fully participate in my life and to live my truth as a strong and creative woman. I used to say I never wanted to take my recovery for granted, but one of the gifts of this beautiful process is that today I can take it for granted that I am going to wake up well and with hope and the ability to make a difference, and to keep working to find common ground with others. So let's work to make sure that addiction is less common. Thank you, Live Tampa Bay, and thank you, Tampa Bay Partnership, for taking a stand. And congratulations to all the regional leaders.
I too step forward to honor your example and to stem the tide of the opioid epidemic. I'm Sharon Feckerty, and I'm a person in long-term recovery from alcohol and drug addiction. And for me, that means almost 30 years sober. Thank you. Thank you. And my life is beyond my wildest dreams. Whew. As a business owner, I now look forward to normalizing the conversation surrounding mental health in the workplace. I'm relieved to openly share vulnerability and help make it okay for others not to be okay. I can proudly share that I go to therapy. Yes. Thank you. And that I work on myself so I can be a better human for all of you. I am looking forward to a business community where employees have a place to go, like an employee assistance program, to talk about their mental health and not fear losing their job because of their struggles. I'm glad to be a part of the solution, working with the Live Tampa Bay initiative as we work to stop the tide of opioid overdose deaths. And I commit to sharing my story to reduce the stigma around addiction and to help keep hope alive.
Thank you. I too step forward to honor your example and to stem the tide of the opioid epidemic. Hi, I'm Eric Gerard. I'm a city commissioner in Largo, and I entered recovery when I was 29 years old, 15 years after I became a daily abuser of drugs and alcohol. Addiction controlled my life, it destroyed relationships, it estranged me from my family, and it ruined my finances. At one point, I entered a depression so severe that for months I could not leave my own bed. Finally, after an argument with my partner and at risk of losing one more job, I entered recovery. My sobriety date is December 1st, 1981. 42 years. 42 years clean, sober, and a reliable, contributing member of society. I'm blessed to join with Live Tampa Bay to end the scourge, the stigma, and the shame of addiction, and to demonstrate that recovery is possible, recovery is real. I want to thank my sponsor, Steve, who's gone now, for saving my life. My life today is a miracle of good health and sanity. I'm an elected official. My wife of 39 years and I travel the world together. We have good and loyal and valued friends. We have a beautiful home and financial stability. And among the greatest gifts of all, our daughter never saw me use.
Yeah, so now don't.
I too step forward to honor the example of others before and to stem the rise of opioid addiction. I'm Tom Palazzo, and I'm a person in long-term recovery from drugs and alcohol. And for me, that means I'm almost 16 years without a drink or a drug. More importantly, my life is much better. Additionally, I helped raise two boys, Cody and Justin, who lost the fight to their own opioid addiction. But today I'm here to talk about recovery and what it means. Today I own my own real estate business in Sarasota, and I can go to work with a clear mind and an open heart, knowing just for today I don't have to have another drink. I can look forward to Christmas with my family and not worry about what lie I told which person. And my family and friends are happy to see me and often seek me out for guidance and advice. Turns out I don't need a drink to golf. I still kind of suck. My game may not be better, but my attitude is, and that's great for the match I have with my brothers and for myself. I look forward to a community where families and friends understand addiction as a disease, not the lack of willpower or the absence of good moral character. I hope one day that addicts and alcoholics like myself can hit bottom hard enough to ask for help and to get the help they need before they can't ask anymore. I'm glad to be a part of the solution working with Live Tampa Bay as we work together to stop the tide of opioid overdose deaths. I commit to sharing my story too, to reduce the stigma around addiction and to help keep hope alive.
My name is Joseph B. Harris. I'm the fourth born of 11 children in a poverty-stricken household welfare in the city of New York, where my father was an alcoholic. I started stealing at the age 6, which led into a childhood of juvenile delinquency. I started using heroin at 16 in 1961, and I used intravenous heroin for 12 years. During that 12 years of heroin addiction, I was arrested multiple times. I was involved with armed robbery, police shooting at me, bullets flying by my head, burglary, purse snatching. I went to jail numerous times. I overdosed at least 3 times where I had to be revived. In 1973, I stopped all drug abuse, alcohol, heroin, cigarettes, and At that time, I was a junior high school 8th grade dropout, homeless. I went back to school, got a GED, I got a Bachelor of Science in Counseling. I became a credentialed counselor, a substance abuse counselor for the state of New York. I worked as a certified substance abuse counselor for 45 years in New York, and until I moved to Florida in 2018, and I've worked down here for about 5 years as a substance abuse counselor, 50 years altogether. I'm married and the father of 3 wonderful adult children. I also wrote 3 books. I was told I could never stop using drugs, and I was always going to be an addict. Well, I've been sober for 51 years in January 2024. And I'm not an addict. I'm a spiritual image of God. I'm a human being who happens to have the history of drug addiction. No drug could tell me who I am. You know, so I know from my experience that God is the greatest power ever known to mankind, and he's the one who took me out of drug addiction in 1973. And I also learned that it's not how you start off in life, it's how you end up that counts.
I'm here to say that Alexis and Sean are right. Addiction is a family disease. I'm John Power. I'm an alcoholic in long-term recovery, and for me that means 33 years without a drink. My mother was an alcoholic who found recovery at 64 years old. My sister died from alcoholism at the same age. My 16-year-old son carried his cousin's coffin out of a church on a rainy day in Washington, D.C. after he succumbed to opiate overdose. This same son suffered a marijuana and alcohol use disorder and found help at age 18 in Minnesota at the Hazelden Betty Ford Foundation Center for Youth and Family. He has since graduated college and has been consistently in recovery for 11 years. I now serve as the vice chairman of the Hazelden Betty Ford Foundation, the country's largest nonprofit addiction and mental health organization, where over 25,000 people per year find hope and healing. Without recovery, I would never have had the ability to help my son and would still be searching for answers. I also have to say that I have the pleasure, due to my recovery, to know Sean Daniels personally, to be involved in his initial premiere of The White Chip when it happened in Lowell, Massachusetts. And last week, I got to stand in the White House with Susan Ford Bales and Vice President and First Lady Dr. Biden and unveil the Betty Ford stamp, which will become public in April 4th of 2024. A woman who stood up years ago and said, there is no stigma to addiction. I am proud to be part of this organization, and I appreciate everyone's time. Thank you.